mean, clearly lost for words when it comes to how I'm starting this chapter off, because this chapter caught me so out of left field with the information we get given. And after coming out of Wano and heading into this final saga, I don't think any of us were prepared for how much lore and information we were going to be thrown by Oda. And it doesn't seem to be stopping. We have some incredible reveals in this chapter that I personally wasn't ready for. And I'm interested to know now where we're going with all of this. But why don't we just get into it? So, chapter 1073, Miss Buckingham Stussy. So, we have our Gemma 66 cover story continuing on, and we get to see an award to our prestigious scientist himself, Vegapunk. We see him receiving the Ibel Peace Prize. Nice little nod to the Nobel Peace Prize, I guess. But he has managed to develop gunpowder flowers. So you can see in the background there's like a tank warfare, and instead of firing gunpowder, they are firing flowers. And he seems very happy to receive this award with his gigantic brain that he's now been developing. But we do get to see Caesar, Queen's, and Judge's reaction, and they don't seem too happy. So we kind of get an idea now that during their time in Mant, Vegapunk went down this type of route of developing these type of weaponries for peace. We know that's what he's seeking. However, Judge, Caesar, and Queen have gone down the alternative route and are shocked to see that Vegapunk is now going for this peaceful approach. But this chapter kicks off right where we left off. So we've got Lucci's immediate reaction to the betrayal. So we come in and Kaki's on the floor, out, cold, and Lucci's like, this is a bitter pill to swallow. He's angry, he's reeling, and he goes immediately, first instinct, goes to attack Stussy with finger pistol. But we see the paper art technique. We get our kami technique again of the Rokushiki, and she uses the heartbreak after image, and she's already just past Lucci, him attacking some after image, some clone, and even she comments like, you wouldn't understand, you don't understand, your first instinct is to kill. And we get to see that she pulls out like some lipstick and she breaks it, and all she has to do is like touch it up against Lucci, and Lucci's almost like, oh, like, I'm done, because it's sea stone. So she's already shut him down, and within seconds we see this incredible shot of her mouth opening, fangs, this like elongated tongue, and she's bit into Lucci. And even she comments, she's like, look, in a fair fight, I'd have been stupid to go up against you. I know how strong you boys are. This wasn't going to be fair. I wasn't going to have to go up against you, so we needed these underhanded tactics. But very nicely, she asked them to forgive. I don't think they'll forgive, but it's a nice sentiment. But we get Zoro's and Brooks' sort of instant reaction of, wait, hold on, they're CP0 and she's just turned on both of them, and they're both out cold on the floor. We can see Brooks on the ship, Zoro's next to Stussy, and he's like, oh, bit of friendly fire there, that's a bit uncalled for. But we do see that Stussy immediately picks up a transponder snail and she reports in that she's put them both to sleep. So something to do with her ability allows her to induce some sort of like sleep paralysis. That it's not just she's drinking their blood if she is a vampire, that she's got some extended ability or some improved ability where she can induce sleep on a target. We don't know how long for, but it seems long enough for everyone to try and make their move now to escape. But it turns out that who she is reporting to is none other than Pythagoras, getting to respond saying, "That's fantastic news. Stussy has came through." I mean, when Vegapunk called someone a couple chapters ago, and we thought we were going to get this new character, we thought, oh, who's it going to be? Is it going to be a Rox member crew? Is it going to be a Rogers member crew? No, it was Stussy. So while Stussy was stood around CP0, Vegapunk was like, "Hey, yeah, Stussy, do you want to do us a favour?" And she was like, "Yeah, I was waiting for that order." So her clear allegiance now is to Vegapunk. We can see that. She took out both Lucci and Kaku, and she's immediately like, "Right, it's time. Put them both to sleep. We gotta go." And we get to see everyone's reaction as well. So Pythagoras was the first to respond as he's trying to get York up after eating so much. But we also see Usopp, Nami, Jinbei, Shaka, Robin, all sort of their reaction. Like, wait, Lucci's defeated? That's a surprise. Wait, you're saying that after 20 years that Stussy's been infiltrated in CP0 in the agency, that she's been on your side this whole time? What like an incredible secret. Like, her loyalty towards you has lasted that long. And even Robin's like, that is incredible that you've had a mole in it for some time. Like, but it turns out it wasn't their intention to begin with. So somewhere along the way, and what I assume is Stussy's own part in all of this, her own autonomy, she's developed herself and went into that, and they've just had to go along with it. She's still aligned with Vegapunk and the satellite bodies, but ultimately she still can choose her own actions to the most part. Maybe she is still a clone, but she does then give us the damning news that her authority level is the same as Lucci's, so she can't override the orders. The orders for the Seraphim are still in effect. So as they're going to all attack, we see Lilith and Edison getting to race through, and they're trying to now get through all the debris, all the attacks, and trying to get out because they can give an overriding order. We've got a lovely moment of Brooke and Zoro getting to, again, see familiar faces. I think they look familiar, especially one of them, Zoro points out. I wonder which one he's talking about. No surprise. But we see, I mean, Oda drawing it on purpose maybe, but we see Lilith charging forward with Edison, getting to break out of one of the holes that the Seraphim had caused. And just as they get out, we see S-Hawk is almost already waiting. He's there just below, looks up, locks onto the target, and as he goes to swipe up, we get our clash with Zoro. We finally happened, everyone. Mihawk, Zoro rematch, albeit not the real Mihawk, but still, this is a good test of Zoro's capabilities at the minute in comparisons to Mihawk. If this Seraphim does have the level of Mihawk's ability, which we don't know yet. We know they're based off the Warlords and certainly off who. We don't know how parallel their powers are, because they've also been given the Lunarian DNA. They've been given abilities from Devil Fruits. We've yet to see what S-Hawk's ability is, but we can see he's certainly restrained against Zoro. He clearly looks like it's going to be a tough fight. And Zoro makes an interesting remark about a spark of humanity is in there. So it's not just fully autonomous and cybernetic. There is some humanity. But we see a massive shockwave, and we see Edison scream out to shout an order just before S-Shark goes to try and blow him up. But luckily, he does get the order off that the fighting should stop. And Lilith thinks that Edison's been blown up just as he's got the order off, but obviously we know how quick Sanji is nowadays, and he just manages to get Edison out of harm's way. Obviously trying to impress Lilith in some capacity. All the Seraphim are now on standby. They're listening to them, so everything seems to be settled for the time being. But we do get Shaka talking with Stussy, saying that she's bound Kaku and Lucci in Sea Stone prisons. So they're now bound. They're not going to be able to use the Devil Fruit abilities. They're going to be weakened. And we actually have maybe a new person joining the ship now, because the order is that Stussy should now join them, because obviously her cover has been revealed. It is now no longer a secret, so it's not safe for her to stay around anymore or to go back with CP0. So they're saying, we're leaving, you're going to come with us. And she's just like, yeah, understood. And then Usopp's like, wait, we'll just keep adding people now? Just take everyone? We've got a cutaway to Luffy still searching for Bonnie and Vegapunk with Chopper. Obviously, Vegapunk is the reason they're trying to escape. They're the one they said to Sentomaru that they would get out, so they can't obviously leave without him. However, we cut away to a shot of Egghead. We've got like this lovely tropical base, and then there's got the clouds, and then there's the egg at the top. But we have a unexpected development. Dr. Vegapunk's main body has disappeared. It's vanished. We don't know where it is. And that's where we come right away now from Egghead, and we return to Sphinx Island. Sphinx in the New World, Whitebeard's hometown. This lovely, beautiful shot of scenery. And we come with Marco. So Marco is returned after the, obviously, raid in Onigashima. And we've got all these kids explaining what's happened since he's been gone. Albeit it was probably not an extended period of time. It was maybe only a couple of weeks. Depends how long he stayed, because I know he left pretty soon after the raid. But he apologizes. He seems very apologetic to these kids because they were so scared, because in the time that Marco had left, we had Marines showing up to take Whitebeard's treasure. But these Marines, and we get the look of a captain, Captain Rattle, and his facial appearance looked like a rat. And he's saying this place doesn't have any government affiliation. There are no legal rights here. You're going to hand over this treasure. If you don't tell us, it is an act of defiance. And he is ready to just point blank shoot a child in the face. So this rat, we will now refer to as, is threatening children. And this old woman comes and says, you can't treat us like this. This is not right. A fellow human, that you're just monsters. And it's like, oh, this tough act. You know, Marco's not around. They're going to get away with everything. So they know Marco's left. So this is their chance to aim and take this Whitebeard treasure and hold everyone hostage. And before he can take out this old woman, we get a massive cleave from Weevil. And as Weevil strikes, he sends all of the Marines, or most of them, flying, saying, "Stay away from my dad's home. You're not taking anything." And they're all reacting in fear. And they're like, "Oh, it's Weevil. We're warships. They were meant to hunt down the warlords. They've been disbanded. So why is he still here? We need to get all of the squads. We need to get as many people as possible. We need backup. We've got an ex-warlord Weevil on Sphinx, and they need immediate assistance." And we come back to the children explaining that if it wasn't for him, we'd have all been toast. And even Marco's like, "Well, I'm glad you're all safe." But then we hear that old crone voice in the background, this old woman saying that wasn't the end of it, though. Who do you think they called for, Marco, when they ordered that backup? Yeah, it was none other than the Admiral Ryokuiji. Really hope I didn't butcher that name. And we've seen him, we know what he's able to do, and we hear that he wasn't going to pull his punches. And we see a shot of Miss Buckin explaining that his son has been captured. They've taken Weevil away. And also, while we're at it, you can fork over Whitebeard's inheritance now. So, glad to see she's still up to those. But we do get new title cards. Get more explanation of she was now a former member of the Rocks crew, a self-proclaimed scientist, and was Mad's resident freeloader, Miss Buckin. Buckingham Stussy. So trying to encapsulate this character, what we know of her briefly and what we now can see. She seems to be trying to affiliate, obviously, Weevil with Whitebeard and wanting this inheritance. We know that, as the title card suggests, of a freeloader. Maybe she's not a scientist. She's a self-proclaimed scientist. Maybe she joined Mads, having come away from the Rocks pirates, and has somehow got it into her head that she is now a scientist and was helping Mads, and has maybe created Weevil, because we see all the stitch marks on him. Like, he doesn't seem like a real person. He might be like patchwork with Whitebeard DNA or some variation of her own technology of clone. But nevertheless, she does try and say that they've taken him to prison. They've sent him away from his own father's village. The poor boy has such a noble soul. He was trying to just defend everyone. And even Marco's like scratched his head a bit like, "Oh, well, I appreciate you guys protecting this place, but you know." And she immediately abruptly stops him and says, "You still don't believe he's Whitebeard's son. You know what? There's one person who can vouch and prove it, and that's Vegapunk." We don't know where Vegapunk is, but we still don't know fully about her backstory. We're getting pieces now, we're getting fragments, but to me, it strikes me as she just seems to be playing this game of trying to get Whitebeard's inheritance. Maybe she's got it in her head from the Rock Pirate days that Whitebeard owes her, and she wants to take the money, and she's created this child through Mads, or even maybe it is Whitebeard's son. I guess Vegapunk will explain that at some point. But the chapter doesn't end there. We come back to, I assume we are coming up to outside of Egghead. And we got Kizaru saying, or giving food and snacks and saying, "We prepared this tea for our guest." And he's like, "Did you make sure to check it for poison?" "Of course. Why wouldn't I?" And he's like, "Right, I'll take it in." And we have two flags. We see the Marine flag and the World Government flag. and we see Kizaru entering what looks to be this lovely decorative room, really well outfitted, all the best stuff, I assume, drapes, chairs, tables. And he's asking this person, this guest, have you ever met Vegapunk before? Did you ever get the chance? And this man's thinking, and he's going, oh, once, long time ago, I think it's when it happened. Truly, such a shame. We see one of the world's highest authorities, one of the 5 elders, Saint J. Garcia Saturn. After nearly 20-ish years, I think if I remember rightly, and I looked it up, the Gorosei first appeared in chapter 233, just after Shanks and Whitebeard met up for the first time, and that was such a groundbreaking thing that the Gorosei were sort of given comment on this event. That was when they were first shown. The people in charge of the world who sit in Rijoir. We now get a name. And not only do we get a name, they're making a move. They're now no longer sat in their nice, furnished chambers and rooms up in Rijoir, overlooking and receiving all this information and just making comments about it. We have one on a ship heading for Egghead. I mean, if this isn't Oda trying to tell us that, oh, that's fine. 4 chapters, Lucci and Kaku can get defeated. No, that's no problem. How about you try and escape with Kizaru and one of the 5 elders waiting to stop you? What type of abilities is this man going to have? So just to give information, we've got this 5 elder ready to get in there now. They're making their move. One of the big wigs is here now. In 20 years, Oda has only ever used these guys as exposition to make comment and give further information as to what's happening in the world at the time. I have seen the theory thrown out that now we've got a name of Saturn. We know all about how Oda likes naming things. We've got the name of Pluton and stuff. Are the other Gorosei names to do with planets? Likely. I mean, what a way to end. Now we've got a break next week, so we've got another week of waiting. I am very excited to see what this man can do in combat. As we know by the track record of One Piece, the older someone is, doesn't mean they're out of the fight just yet. They're actually some of the more feared fighters. So, whether he's got Devil Fruit ability, whether it's just genuine natural haki this guy has, that is just unparalleled. He holds some strength that even Kizaru is in deep respect of this man. I'm very excited. So, let me know what you guys think after this incredible chapter. See you later.